Hey, Shane, what is your name? What do you do? And what is your problem?
My name is Shane Ross, and I do a few things. I have a hair salon, so I'm unique to have that, but I do love to help people, trying to be a coach. And my problem is trying to figure out what the universe wants from me.
Okay. Wow. So I like it that you fact that you've gone for a quick and easy one. So rather than looking, I see a problem for a start. Rather than sitting there and doing the classic Nirvana, here I am, entertain us, you're out there asking, what does the world want from you? Let's start asking, what can you offer the world?
Just,
and go
good.
from that angle.
I like that. It is. It is. That's the thing. It's like when we talked a while back, and I can't wait for October when I come out to Speakeasy. It's just the things that have happened. I've met you through Ben Hardy.
Okay.
Ben Hardy helped me get to my nucleus as a human. And it's very interesting. When I was 20, I felt lost. I don't know, Bruce Lee, I think you're interested in him.
Yeah, very much.
He really helped me. I was so lost in college. I thought I didn't know what I wanted. I went in and I was in the golf business. I could have been successful there around presidents, super, super powerful people, but I just wasn't happy. And it was hard because I didn't know what else to do. And I sought in, and he just helped me find, it's okay. And I know my nephew's going through that right now. And I think that's the hardest thing. I think that's one thing we're realizing. And I'm realizing now that 20 years ago, I actually found myself, because my son found this book. And it's interesting, books are, something for us it's just like, it's literally a story, and it can be something like this handwritten stuff. I can't believe I was 20 years old and wrote that. And I was simply seeking to find myself in a world where it's always like with Ben and Dan, who, not how. It's like, who are you first? And then how do you get there? And then who can help you along the way? And that's what's hard with me, because I worked with Ben for a year, and it's beautiful. He helped me find my nucleus, and I met you. You're amazing too, and that's why I want to work with you, because I had an author that I met through his daughter-in-law, sat down and talked with him. And we just talked, and and at the end I was like, here's my vision of life and business, because it can be holistic. And he's like, you're going to put a dent in 21st century leadership. I was like, wow. I was like, I didn't expect that. But what does that mean? I was like, I don't need to. And I don't know.
Would you say, do you have any engineering background?
No, but I love numbers. I'm very,
Yeah, that's pretty obvious. You're an analytical, and analytics need to know the answer 9 times out of 10 before they even work out the equation. So with you, what you're doing, and my son, Henry, who you're going to meet, he's very much an analytical personality as well. And the downside with an analytical mind cross-feeding over into an entrepreneurial body is that you need the answer to something that will never come.
Yeah.
Now, entrepreneurs, we're always pushing the gauntlet. We're always pushing the edge. Okay, this is working perfectly. An entrepreneurial mind goes, right, how can we make it better? How can we make it faster? How can we make it shiny? An engineering and analytical mind goes, right, when I want to build this that is so strong, I don't have to revisit it. That's not an entrepreneurial cortex. So you're sitting there looking for the answer rather than enjoying the journey. You see, as an entrepreneur, we need to go, okay, what am I going to experience? The toys you wanted to play with when you were 4 were different to the toys you wanted to play with when you were 8, 18, 28, 48. But that's still toys.
Yep.
You've got to learn how to adjust. Now, Bruce Lee, you brought up Bruce Lee perfectly. And Bruce Lee is a master with motivation and in mindset and understanding that you mustn't actually try to combat the force, but utilize it and move with it.
Yep.
Now he teaches all this in Jeet Kune Do, which is his actual martial arts that he taught. But he teaches us not to head on with force, not to try and fight it, but absorb it and use it as ours. Now, you want to coach more. You want to train more. You want to teach more. You want to impact more. And you're looking at the answer of how do I do that rather than what have I got to do it? So you've got to one thing, and again, I think this will help you now with your analytical mind. Write down on a piece of paper. Now, I know that sounds funny, but I prefer to write things down from our interaction. I know you like to write things down because it helps you consume it and cement it. Write down all of your skill sets.
Yep.
Write down all of your talent points. And then go back to them and identify which one of those are unicorns. Now, you could maybe write a book, but hey, why do something that you could pay someone else to do? You know, you could build a website, but again, is that your unicorn? But maybe getting people focused on their strengths, maybe that's your unicorn. You see, you need to focus on what you can do and then what everyone else can do that's the same as you until you come up with those 3 to 5 things, and they won't be many. And that is what you need to expose to your market. You need to expose, these are my unicorns. And do you know the funny thing is, have you ever written a book?
I've been told many times. That's why I want to meet with you. And yeah,
right.
I'm like, okay.
It is one of the greatest disturbing, vulnerable times of your therapeutic journey, because it will expose what you do that you will actually conceive as your unicorn. Well, I do this for this, and you think, oh, great. And then a good ghostwriter is also your therapist, because I had a ghostwriter who would help me with this book. And I would tell them the story of the grand things that I did in Venice and Rome and Milan and all over the planet. And I would think that would be the attraction. She would turn around to me and she'd be like, how did you do that? And you very quickly realize that it's the small hinges that move the big doors. And my unicorn wasn't in me doing this with Elton John or Elon Musk. It was in the process right at the beginning. And I noticed my unicorn was back there. So with you, I think what we need to do is identify how you are moving the dominoes differently to other people and then exploit that. I don't want you stood there in the middle of the desert going, Lord, tell me how I can create impact. I want you analyzing within, going, okay, what is my skill sets? What is my unicorn? And how can I utilize those to help people that it's not their unicorn? Have you ever done that?
A little bit. I think what I am is, like you're talking about, analytical. I think just me being honest and vulnerable, I think that's huge, because I think that gives people confidence. Because I've stood up in front of things that, you know, like could have ended my career, but I knew something was wrong, and it worked out. But it's just I knew something was wrong, and I just wanted to make it right. It isn't about me being right, and it could have ended my career, but I made a choice, and it actually helped me be a better human too. And I think that's one thing I try to, especially my salon, try to teach them to be confident in themselves, because then you just see them be happy. And it's just good to see happy people. That's what I like. And it doesn't matter how many, it's just like, it's good to see people just be good for themselves, and then they can support themselves too.
All right. So let's tear down that conversation for a start. You standing up for somebody else, how the freaking hell does that help me? You know, selfishly, when people look at you, talk to you, and they do that with anybody in the planet, how does your brilliance help me? People are inherently selfish, and that's a good thing. I'm a selfish person. If I'm gonna have a coach, if I'm gonna talk to someone, if I'm gonna meet someone, how does this benefit me? 9 times out of 10, I know how I can benefit them, but how does them benefit me? So you being able to stand up for somebody else That doesn't benefit me. But focusing on what makes me happy in order to support my life.
That's right.
Now, do you know the funny thing was, in the conversation that we just had, that was the second half of your conversation and statement. Your first half was basically on how you stood up for things that could have jeopardized your career. It was all about you. Woo-hoo, boo-hoo, who cares? That was you. But now the second part of your conversation was how you try to make sure people are happy and can support themselves in a happy environment. In a world today where mostly we are not. Now there's your power. Okay, first of all, I remember speaking with a friend of mine, very wealthy dude, and I said to him, hey, you should invest in my deal. This guy could have dropped $1 million in my direction. He wouldn't have noticed, and within a couple of days, the interest would have made up. He'd have never seen it gone, okay? He was one of those. And I said to him, you need to get involved in this. And he said, what are you looking for? I said, well, I know you could put $1 million into this, so let's stop pissing around. And, you know, I'm going to tell you about my thing, and you can get involved in it for $1 million. And he turned around to me straight in the eyes and he went, I'm never going to invest $1 in your company, but send me the outline. So I thought, well, that's a mixed message.
Yeah.
But okay. So I did. And I sent him it, and he sent it back to me. Now, here's the funny thing. I emailed it to him. He printed it off, stuck it in an envelope, and posted it back to me. And when I took it out, it was this big, thick document. I thought I'd been sued or something. It was a big document that had been printed out. And I realized it was my PowerPoint. And I'm flicking through it. And the only thing that had happened was on the bottom right corner of every single page, he wrote one of two things. Okay, so what? Those were the only two things he wrote on it. Okay, or so what? And the page would be like, okay, so what, okay, so what? And I contacted him, and of course I went, hey, I saw you got my proposal. You're obviously over the moon. You need to know where to send me the money. And he said, I told you, I'm not sending you the money, but I've given you the greatest lesson you're going to learn. And I said, what is it? He said, every statement you made can be answered with a, okay, this is great. Okay, I'm in. Okay. Or, so what? Who gives a shit? So when people stand there and they go, hey, I made $1 million by my second coffee. So what? How does that help me?
True.
But if they turn around and say, hey, I made my $1 million before my second coffee, and now I'm going to show you how you can do it. Okay. So when you're having that conversation with yourself on how you can actually install confidence in people, how you can create impact, ask yourself the question, what you're telling people, can it be answered with an okay or a so what? You standing up for other people's rights and nearly losing your job? So what? But you telling me how it can benefit me? Okay, I'm on board. Stop asking for the universe to summon you with white virginal angels on telling you what you need to do, and start focusing on what you can do. What is your unicorn and how you can make it somebody's okay.
Yep. Wow. Yeah,
Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
One of the most important things have the vaguest answers, but sorry. we got an old house.
All right. Well, that's perfect then. So look, so that's what you've got to do now. I hope that helps you. As I say, we've always done these conversations because quite simply, we've discovered many times that your problem is more than likely somebody else's problem. And I've often noticed that a lot of people are there waiting for that holy grail sign on the wall when it's actually been there all along. You just haven't noticed it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm grateful for just even having the opportunity to talk with you. And then just in October, just to sit down and just, get to meet you and just have conscious conversation and just, enjoy life. Cause I think that's what it is. It's just enjoying life and the right people in your life.
There you go. That's the dynamic and the parameter that more people need to focus on. Shane, thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for being a part of the Speakeasy and Sims Distillery community. And I do look forward to seeing you at the Speakeasy in Los Angeles.
Same here. Thank you.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
Hey, this is Steve Sims, and I hope you liked that episode of Being Coached by Steve Sims. Subscribe over here, watch some other cool videos over here, or for your chance to be coached by me for the YouTube series, join here at simsdistillery.com.